Africa is advancing in digital innovation, yet it has not fully leveraged technologies such as AI because of obstacles in infrastructure, skills and policy frameworks. Effectively utilizing these technologies is crucial for the continent's economic growth and social progress, emphasizing the need to assess current initiatives and outline the necessary future actions. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Gamachisa Mandida, along with Zalalemi Beltal. Today's roundup focuses on the importance of technology and AI in driving Africa's development and prosperity. Stay with us. Hello, Zalalem.
Hello, Gamach. Thank you.
Yeah, well, let me begin with asking you where we are as a continent regarding the utilization of technology and AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's great. It's critically important to spend time talking and discussing on this super important idea of our time, artificial intelligence and technologies related with artificial intelligence, like startups, innovations and entrepreneurships related with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is changing the way we live in. Artificial intelligence is shaping the world. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we do business. Artificial intelligence is, of course, changing the way we educate, the way we obtain knowledge, the way we exchange knowledge, the way we exchange information and data. So artificial intelligence is changing the world we live in. So it's critically important to spend time discussing on artificial intelligence and digital technologies related with artificial intelligence. Coming to your question, Gamach, Africa is moving forward in artificial intelligence and in digital technology. We have seen promising positive momentum in Africa, in countries, for example, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in Morocco, in Algeria. We have witnessed positive developments. So Africa is moving forward in artificial intelligence, but there are limitations and hurdles and obstacles in fully implementing and harnessing the opportunities brought by artificial intelligence. Of course, we'll get back to the limitations and the remedials, the solutions for those limitations later in our roundup discussion. But we can definitely say that Africa is moving forward in artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence has brought enormous benefits and promises for Africa. Artificial intelligence can help Africans overcome some of the pressing challenges, some of the biggest challenges related with socio-economic activities, for example, in agriculture, in health sector, in education, in governance, in public service. Artificial intelligence can bring significant positive outcome for Africa. So it has numerous benefits and promises for Africa. And Africa has already started utilizing artificial intelligence, but a lot remains to be done in artificial intelligence and in digital technology.
Yes, Zalalem, to add to your points, of course, if we look at key efforts and focus areas in terms of the African regions, North, South, East, West, and Central Africa. Well, if we just begin with East Africa, there is, of course, Kenya, for instance, which is very good at mobile money in terms of using AI, digital education, smart education, startup ecosystems. These are the very good things that are taking place in Eastern Africa. And of course, when we come to level of development, we can say they're highly developed in fintech, financial technology, and in AIs, also emerging in other sectors, as you mentioned. Well, notable examples are Kenya's M-Pesa, Ethiopia's tech hubs, and Uganda's ICT infrastructure. West Africa, of course, we have, a very good effort, or key efforts involve, digital innovation, AI in education and agriculture, innovation hubs. We find, Nigeria, a very good example here. Nigeria's AI startups are doing very well. Ghana's digital initiatives and Senegal's hubs are very good example in terms of very good activities in terms of AI usage, in West Africa. In terms of, North Africa, of course, we have AI research centers, smart cities, automotive, AI, e-government services. These are, common things that give, that we observe, in Northern Africa. And we can say, just their level is moderate to advanced, and focus on urban and industrial AI has been given by North African countries. And good examples are, of course, Egypt's AI centers and smart city projects, and Morocco's manufacturing AI. These are very good examples. When we go to South Africa, and of course here we can say South Africa is, a leadership, and its health tech, fintech, e-commerce, smart cities are doing very well in terms of harnessing technology and AI in general. And we can say their level of development is, highly developed, and we consider South Africa specifically, a regional leader. And numerous startups and government research programs are taking place in South Africa. When it comes to Central Africa, relatively, we can say, their efforts are emerging, and improving internet access is being observed, and digital infrastructure and agriculture AI is also being utilized in Central Africa. But relatively, we can say they have less developed and early stage of utilization of technology and AI. Of course, Rwanda's digital infrastructure, Cameroon and Congo's access projects are very good, notable examples in terms of harnessing AI and digital technology in general. So many African countries have taken, initiatives, and governments across Africa are implementing policies and strategies to promote digital transformation and innovation. So these days, of course, AI and digital technology in general is not something that we can avoid. It is just coming to us. It has become, part and parcel of our daily activities. And if we are not able to harness it, very well, there is going to be, a big challenge that has, negative implications to our development endeavors, our well-being, etc. So how do you describe, the fact that, this AI and technology in general is, essential for Africa's development? To what level do you assert, or do you say AI is essential for Africa's development? Technology is important for Africa's development.
Yes, as you rightly said, we have seen incredible progress in terms of utilizing and harnessing artificial intelligence in Africa, almost in all parts of the continent, from east to west and from north to south, including Central Africa. We have seen positive momentum in artificial intelligence. And as you said, we can't afford to ignore artificial intelligence these days, because artificial intelligence is changing the way we live, and we can't be out of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is in fact a transformative tools and powers for Africa to to leapfrog development and to bring about the desired change in the continent. For example, artificial intelligence can be employed in agriculture. In agriculture, artificial intelligence can bring smart agriculture, precision farming, and so on. And it can absolutely help African farmers to be more productive in their agricultural practice. For instance, if African farmers can predict the weather conditions of their environment with the help of artificial intelligence, African farmers can adjust their agricultural practice to that specific weather conditions that is predicted by artificial intelligence. So that's critically important. For example, if the next week the weather condition of next week is going to be rainy, and if farmers are informed of the weather condition, they can harvest, for example, their crop before they lose with flood. Artificial intelligence can help farmers, for example, to practice precision farming, so that can eliminate wastes. So artificial intelligence can bring productivity in African agriculture, and that's critically important to ensure food security in Africa, which is the central agenda in Africa. And of course, it's also a priority in African Union as far as Agenda 2063 is concerned. Agricultural productivity is crucial for Africa. So to ensure agricultural productivity, artificial intelligence plays a key and pivotal role. Artificial intelligence can also be applied and employed in education, for example, with artificial intelligence powered platforms and tools. For example, students can learn lessons, for example, in Rwanda, in Nigeria, with AI powered platforms, students can learn lessons like maths and science. And this is critically important because in many rural areas in Africa and in many underserved areas in Africa, there is shortage of teachers. In those areas where the numbers of teachers is scarce,
Yes.
AI-powered platforms can be employed, and that can overcome the problem faced by shortage of teachers. Therefore, it can definitely revolutionize the education sector. If we go to the health sector, artificial intelligence can play a significant role. For example, in the absence of doctors and health professionals, artificial intelligence, for example, can give advice
Yes.
and guidance for patients. Therefore, the significance of artificial intelligence can never be overestimated. Artificial intelligence is also important in public service, in governance. Artificial intelligence can streamline services so that artificial intelligence can help to reduce corruption, which is the major cancer in Africa. Billions of dollars are spent, waste because of corruption in Africa. So to fight against corruption, artificial intelligence will also play a critical role to make the service easier, to make life easier for people, and for government to give a more effective service. Artificial intelligence is critically important. So the significance of artificial intelligence to propel economic growth in Africa, to propel technological advancement in Africa, to compete with the advanced world is huge, and African countries need to embrace the significance, the role of artificial intelligence, and they need to immerse into artificial intelligence, and that needs, of course, huge investment. Recently I came across with some statistics and research done regarding countries' investment in artificial intelligence, and I was surprised that United States, for example, invest like $109 billion in 2024. $109 billion. The first country to invest such huge amount of money in artificial intelligence, and China follows, and then United Kingdom comes. Those developed and wealthy nations are investing a lot in artificial intelligence, and that's not because they do have money, and that's not because they want some luxury stuff, because they understand the power of artificial intelligence, because they appreciate the fact that artificial intelligence is shaping the world. So to be leader in global race, to be leader in global development, and even to influence the world, to impact the world, to be listened in the world stage, you need to invest in artificial intelligence. And that's what exactly those developed world countries like United States, China, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, and other developed countries are doing. If you compare their investment with Africans, there is a huge difference and there is huge gap. I said United States invest $109 billion in 2024. Africans invest $4.7 billion. So United States investment in artificial intelligence is like 9 to 10 times bigger and larger than all African countries combined.
Yeah, but
that shows you that.
Yeah, Zelalem, excuse me to interrupt you.
No
I just got a very interesting point, because you remind me of what people think about the use of AI in general, especially as far as as far as your expenses for utilization of AI is concerned. Many African countries, for this and that reason, just they refrain from investing well in AI, we can see. But the point is that, as you said earlier, of course, nations, advanced and rich nations such as the United States, spend in billions on AI. And if you look at, Africans in general, majority of Africans are, we are financially
incapable.
low.
Yeah.
But it will be, useful for even the poor, it cannot be considered as something luxury.
Yeah.
It's not luxurious for Africans to invest in AI. For instance, look at Kenya. Kenya M-Pesa. M-Pesa is helping, people who are unbanked. Okay, it is allowing people to take, financial transactions in their lives, to do financial transactions in their daily routines, and that allows, a very good opportunity for people who cannot access, bank services. So most of the time, well, people don't use, banks for transactions. We know this very well because of infrastructure, lack of infrastructure, and other factors. But when it comes to, just the use of AI, for instance, fintechs, Kenya is, a very good example. It employs, just this M-Pesa, in which, people, especially in the countryside, can access, bank services. Education, you can select, any point, any topic, and then you can have, explanations. It's because of course, AI, artificial intelligence. So this will allow people enjoy, just options, various options. So, well, in Africa, we have infrastructure, lack of infrastructure development almost everywhere, especially in the countryside. In such situations, AI comes as a savior. Okay, so in terms of the provision of education, the provision of bank services, the provision of information on agricultural practices, etc. So Africa cannot take AI and technology in general as something that is luxury.
Yeah.
It's not a luxury.
Yeah.
It is a necessity. And as you said, of course, developed nation, rich nations such as the United States, the European Union, and other Asian countries such as advanced ones, China, they are utilizing technology. They are utilizing AI, and we find it in their every aspect of life. Why is it that just they spend billions of dollars into AI? Because they know it pays back very well. Okay. So the problem is that Africans, for a variety of reasons, are not investing as much as needed on technology and AI, and as a result, they're not benefiting from it. So
exactly. Yeah. As you say, the developed worlds are investing a lot, not because they do have money, they do possess capital, because they know the influence of artificial intelligence. They know the fact that artificial intelligence is going to shape the world. So in the same way, African countries need to invest in artificial intelligence. Unless they invest, they put money on artificial intelligence, unless they encourage their use in innovation, in startups, in artificial intelligence, African youth population will be consumers of irrelevant technological products which come from different parts of the world. So African governments need to invest in their use. The potential of technology in Africa relies heavily on its burgeoning youth population. So the increasing youth population should be a blessing for Africa. And to make them blessing, we need to invest in them. And that needs real investment. Now, the great majority of Africans are urging their government to invest in them, to invest in education, to invest in technology. That really needs investment. For example, the developed world like the United States and European countries, they have integrated artificial intelligence into their education system. They are learning artificial intelligence in their university, in their schools, in secondary and primary schools as well. They are learning artificial intelligence. African countries, many of African countries are starting to get introduced to artificial intelligence. And that's, of course, encouraging to see that many African governments are trying to give attention and focus for artificial intelligence. we have seen so many initiatives in Africa. It's encouraging to listen African leaders talking a lot about artificial intelligence.
Yes, South Africa,
Yeah.
Kenya, Nigeria, and Egypt are doing very well in this endeavor. Like, you know, just they are leading Africa in utilizing AI and digital technologies in general. So the rest of African countries need to draw lessons from the practices of these countries. In terms of utilizing, you know, AI and technology. Well, we have, you know, many countries in Africa, of course, they face political instability, infrastructural deficits, and low internet penetration. If you see many African countries, except, you know, in cities, most of the countryside, they lack, you know, access to the internet. And what should Africans do in general? They need to invest, even though it might be, you know, huge. Yes.
It is clear that if Africans are not investing in artificial intelligence, they will lag behind development. You know, African countries lagged behind development because, for example, when the developed world entered to industrialization, African countries were there in agriculture. So now there is artificial intelligence, now there is a digital technology. If they do not embrace artificial intelligence and they do not invest in AI and they did not leverage the benefits and the promises brought by artificial intelligence, they will never compete with the developed world. So if they do not invest in artificial intelligence, surely they will stay far from the developed world, and that will have a significant negative outcome for African countries and for African peoples.
Exactly, Zelalem. Just to be precise, I just would like to mention some examples here. We have, of course, you know, stagnation in economic growth because enough people are not taking part in the economic, you know, activities, and African economies could fall behind in global competitiveness, missing out on innovation-driven growth. So increased productivity and new markets, they cannot access them. Because you can access markets, you can increase your productivity when you are accompanied by, you know, just technology. In this case, you know, AI, it's not deniable. Limited access to quality healthcare. We've mentioned it earlier. For instance, if you look at, you know, people in the countryside where you don't have, you know, health infrastructure, you can use, you know, technology to provide, you know, health services, you know, remotely.
Yeah.
And even, you know, in some countries, especially, you know, when you have a very advanced and unique medical doctors, for example, they cannot move from one place to another as everybody else because they are occupied with daily routines at their respective hospitals, for example. So I heard recently that, you know, just there is a professor, unfortunately I forgot his name, he remains in his hospital while conducting, you know, remote surgery, and he is so knowledgeable, so skillful that, you know, just people from all over the world, you know, need his services. So what he does is, because, you know, he cannot travel to every place, you know, as he pleases, what he does is, you know, he stays in his hospital, and he is, of course, furnished with technology, AI, and he conducts surgery, remote surgery, and he managed, you know, to save, you know, patients elsewhere. And this could be possible because of AI. And of course, we've mentioned it again, agricultural decline and food insecurity. If you cannot produce being, you know, supported by technology, then you cannot feed your people. We know every now and then, you know, just the world's population is, you know, increasing, and the demands and the wants are almost, you know, more and more on a daily basis. And so if you have to provide, you know, your people with the kind of food they need and want, especially quality food, then you must be supported by, you know, technology. And the digital economy plays, you know, a big role in the development of economic activities, you know, throughout the world. And people are not, you know, necessarily required to travel from country to country. They can conduct, you know, transactions using, you know, just this the digital environment. Okay, and that is, of course, you know, supported by AI and technology. And education and skills. development. Of course, exchange of new updates in terms of technology can be possible when you have AI and when you have technology. And weak infrastructure and urban development, this is also very important, and the absence of smart city solutions and digital infrastructure would hinder urban planning. Okay, these days, just the population of the world is increasing in a way that is unprecedented, and you need to find a smart way to respond to their wants and their needs, because we have limitations in terms of space, we have limitation in terms of time. So if you take mega cities, wherever you go globally, you just have too much density. Okay. High density in capital cities, for example, and in capital cities, millions of people reside, and of course, in that relatively small space, you allow people to live by building skyscrapers and houses that don't take too much space. And how do you provide them with their needs and their wants, unless and otherwise you utilize AI and technology? So it is something that is very important, something that we cannot live without. Exactly. And for this, even though African nations in general are low in terms of finance, they need to find a way to invest on AI and technology billions, because just the payback is real.
It's imperative, it's must for African countries to invest in artificial intelligence, and the impact of artificial intelligence is undeniable. It's very true that artificial intelligence will shape the future of Africa, and Africa has promising potentials in artificial intelligence, and its potential depends on its growing youth population. And as you said, without using technology, we can't go further. The population of Africa is rising and increasing alarmingly. The population that we have today is very much bigger than we have some 4 or 5 decades ago. But we do possess the same land. The land of Africa is the same as it was 5, 6 decades ago, but the population has doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. So unless we use technology and harness the benefits of technology, we are not going to deliver service for our growing population. So it is must that African countries need to embrace the significance, the importance of artificial intelligence, and need to spend time, energy, and money on artificial intelligence. But the point is, there are limitations in effectively utilizing artificial intelligence. And like we repeatedly said, the first and foremost reason and limitation hurdle regarding the utilization of artificial intelligence is, of course, investment. Africa lacks capital, significant capital in utilizing artificial intelligence. If we compare the economy of Africa and China or United States, there is a huge difference. So we do not expect African countries to invest the way that those developed worlds like United States or China or UK are investing. But at least African countries need to encourage their use, there are enormous promising positive developments in African use, in startups, in innovations, and in entrepreneurship. So they need to encourage those new innovators, entrepreneurs, and startups in Africa. So that being said, there are also limitations with regards to skill and knowledge. Artificial intelligence is a new phenomenon for Africa, while those developed worlds like United States and China have been utilizing artificial intelligence for quite a long period of time. So it is crystal clear that Africans lack a significant amount of skilled manpower, knowledge with regards to artificial intelligence. So there is a skill and knowledge gap. So they need to invest in universities, in schools, and in research institutions, and they need to put considerable amount of finance and capital on those institutions. And the other limitation is, of course, limitations with regards to awareness. People in Africa still considers and perceives artificial intelligence as fictitious and irrelevant, and this is untrue, and this is dangerous, and this should be tackled and should be actively challenged so that media outlets like ours, Pulse of Africa, and other stakeholders, universities, development partners, and other responsible bodies needs to work together to, to make sure that African population, especially the growing youth population, have, the right attitude towards artificial intelligence, because it all starts with thinking and awareness. So we need to increase the awareness of Africans towards artificial intelligence, its impact, and its consequences.
Yeah, Zelalem, by the way, several African nations are making notable progress in terms of, harnessing AI and technology to drive, just development, innovation, and economic growth. For example, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Rwanda, Morocco, these countries are doing very well. And it's not because, just they have really, a significant wealth, okay? No. Not necessarily. These countries are among, of course, relatively, they could be, in a better position to many other African countries in terms of investing, their finances into AI harnessing and the use of technology. But still, they're doing very well, and the rest of African nations can draw lessons from their experiences. And collaboration with these countries for the rest of African countries is a necessary thing to do. Yeah, they can share their experiences. They can provide them with primary knowledge in terms of harnessing AI and technology, and having a very good relationship with these countries is very important for other African countries in general.
There needs to be exchange of knowledge and exchange of experience.
There must be collaboration. There must be coordination. And of course, just there must be political will for these nations to share what they have with the rest of African nations.
By the way, Gamachis, sorry for interruption. The Continental Organization, African Union, has already adopted AI strategy for African countries in 2024. And the meeting conference was here in Addis Ababa, where the African Union headquarters is found. So there was a hot discussion in the past to adopt artificial intelligence strategy for Africans. So the strategy is adopted by African Union because African Union considers artificial intelligence as an instrument to realize Agenda 2063. Artificial intelligence, especially its significance, is very much in line with the goals of African Union with Agenda 2063. So it's high time that African countries need to work on it, need to share experience in artificial intelligence, and need to domesticate and adapt artificial intelligence strategy adopted by African Union to their reality. They can do it. We have seen enormous African youths doing amazing things in artificial intelligence. So if the necessary investment is put on the matter, and if there is collaboration and political will and all kinds of collaboration, there can be a positive change in artificial intelligence.
Yes. To add to this point, what should Africans in general do to harness AI and technology in their activities, in their economic, social, political endeavors? Well, support innovation and entrepreneurship. This is very important. For example, you provide fundings and grants and incentives for tech-based ventures. You can strengthen data ecosystems and governance, and in this case you may establish data collection, sharing and management frameworks that promote open, secure and ethical use of data. You may foster public-private partnerships and international collaboration. Well, we agree that the investment needed to harness AI and digital technology is so huge. And so you cannot do it, just by your own, and you need, collaborators, okay? And in this case, the private sector participation plays a big role, and international collaboration. By the way, when companies and institutions and even, countries see your good practices, you encourage them, just to come over and then give a hand.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So they can provide you with, expertise.
Yeah.
They can support you with, additional finance.
Yeah.
And the point here is, of course, African countries, their leadership, need to show, political will in this case, in harnessing, AI and technology in general. And you have to educate, just you young people, you young citizens. And Ethiopia, of course, has started this in the initiative of 5 million.
Yeah.
In the 5 million initiative,
Yeah.
the Ethiopian government has invited young people, to harness, to learn, digital technology, to learn and then to use it, just in their routines.
Yeah.
That's, a good start. Of course,
Exactly.
it's not enough. And many other African countries, just can do the same
Yeah.
and ensure inclusivity and equity, because no one should be left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if African countries come together and support one another in harnessing, AI and technology, and if they have, partnerships with relevant bodies, individuals, countries, well, harnessing it is not, something impossible. Zelalem, I'm afraid time limits us here, and I think we need to wrap up our program. Yeah. Viewers, thank you very much for watching our program, which ends right here. Next time, we'll come up with a new edition. Until then, goodbye.